Hi, this is Matt with AppliancePartsPros.com. Today we'll be showing you how to repair your appliance. Remember, anytime you work on an appliance, make sure it's unplugged or the circuit breakers are off so there's no chance of electrocution. In this video we're going to show you how to change out the GE refrigerator evaporator fan motor grommet. It's going to be a very easy repair and it should only take a few minutes to show you how to do it. If you already have one of these, great. If not, you can click on the link below or get it at AppliancePartsPros.com. When you open up the package, you're going to get the new evaporator fan motor grommet. The evaporator fan motor grommet dampens the vibrations from the evaporator fan motor. The main reason to be changing it out is if it's torn or damaged and you're getting noise from the evaporator fan motor. In order to change the part, we have to open up the freezer door. With the door open, we can reach in and pull out the ice bucket. All you have to do is lift up and pull out. With the ice bucket out of the way, we're going to take out the light lenses. We're going to use our Phillips screwdriver to take the lower one out. Once you have the screw out, you can slide it to the left and pull it down. Once you have it released, you can pull it out of the freezer. And then we're going to unscrew the light bulb and set that aside too. Then we can take out the upper light lens. All you have to do is use your Phillips screwdriver to take out this screw. Once you have that screw out, we have to lift the light lens off this little tab right here, and then we can pull it down, releasing the tabs at the top, and then we can pull it out of the freezer. Now we can take out the ice maker. We're going to first take our Phillips screwdriver and remove this screw on the bottom bracket. This one we're going to take all the way out. The upper ones we're just going to loosen up so we can lift the ice maker off of them. Once you have the upper screws loose, we can lift the ice maker up and off the screws, and then we want to make sure that the fill line comes out of the fill cup. Then we can rotate the ice maker over and out of the way so we can disconnect the cord and pull the ice maker out. Next, we can use the 1/4 inch nut driver to remove the 2 screws that hold in the wiring harness. They're located right underneath the right ice bucket shelf. Once you have the 2 screws removed, we can reach in and unplug the harness. Next, we can remove the capillary tube from the cold control. All we have to do is lift it out of the Auger box. It goes through the air passageway from the freezer to the fresh food. You just want to lift it out carefully and make sure you don't bend it, otherwise it may not work. Once you have it out, we're just going to set it aside so we can take out the Auger box assembly. There's 4 screws that we have to remove to take it out. Once we take out these side ones, these are supported only by these rivets, so you want to be careful that you don't break the shelves when you're taking it out. Now that we have all the screws out, we can reach in and carefully grab the Auger box and lift it off the mounting tabs and pull it out of the freezer. It is a little bit heavy and you want to be careful that you don't damage the ice bucket shelves. With the Auger assembly out of the way, we can use our Phillips screwdriver and remove these 3 screws that hold the back panel on. With the screws out of the way, we can pull the back panel forward a little bit just to get it out of the way. With the back panel out of the way, we're going to reach in and grab these foam blocks and pull them out so we can pull this housing assembly out. Once you have them out, you can set them aside. Now we can reach in and loosen up the two upper screws that hold in the evaporator motor housing. Remember, we're not going to take them all the way out. We're just going to loosen them up so we can lift the housing up and take it off the screws. Once you have the screws loose, you can lift the housing up and pull it forward. You can lower the housing assembly all the way down and carefully set it on the upper rack. To get the fan motor grommets out of the motor bracket, we're going to have to lift up the assembly again so we can take the motor out. Once you have it lifted up, we're going to use our 1/4-inch nut driver to take these screws out. Once you have both screws out, we can carefully set the housing down again so we can take the motor bracket apart. Now we can lift the evaporator fan motor out, and we're going to use the same 1/4-inch nut driver to take out the two screws that hold the bracket together. Once you have the two screws out, we can take the assembly apart. If you're changing one of these grommets, you're probably doing them both. So you want to lift the bracket off. If the grommet comes with it, you can take it out of the bracket. If not, you can pull it off the back of the motor. To get the front one off, we're going to have to turn it over and carefully pull the fan blade off. Might be on there a little tight, but just carefully pull it off. And same as the rear grommet, we can lift the bracket off and pull the grommet out, or take it off the motor wherever it happens to be. Once you have it taken apart, you can pull the grommet out of the freezer. Here's the old evaporator fan motor grommet next to the new one. If you already have one of these, great. If not, you can get it at appliancepartspros.com. To put the new evaporator fan motor grommets in, you want to make sure that you put the longer edge through the hole on the bracket. Once you have this one on, you can pick up the motor and slide it onto the motor shaft and up onto this little resting spot there. And then we can push the fan blade back on. You want to make sure you put the little locking clip to the inside and push it all the way down. Once you have it on, we can remount the rear grommet. Once you have it snapped into place, we can line up the brackets and put the screws in. Now that we have the screw on one side, we can put the screw in on this side. We're going to make sure that grounding wire goes on first. Once you have the motor mounted, you want to make sure that the other side is tight. And then we can set the motor back down into the housing. We want to turn the bracket assembly over. You want to make sure that the motor is on the top when we set it down in there. Once you have the motor back in place, we can lift it up and put in the two screws to hold it into the housing. You're going to kind of have to hold it in place. There's a little pin on each side that you don't want the motor to fall off. But we're going to lift it up and put one side in while it's lined up. And then we'll make sure the other side is lined up and put it in. Once you have both screws in, we're going to lift the housing up and rest it on the screws And before we tighten down the screws, you want to make sure there's no wires hanging out on either side. And make sure that this wire here is in its little cutout. Once you have those in place, we can take our Phillips screwdriver and tighten down the upper screws. And before we put these screws in that hold the back panel in, we're going to pull it forward a little bit so we can put the foam blocks in. All you have to do is line them up and slide them back into place. Now we can use our Phillips screwdriver and put in the 3 screws that hold in the back panel. Now that we have the back panel secure, we can put in the auger box. To put the auger box in, same as when we took it out, you want to be very careful with the shelves, sliding it back in so you don't break them. And we're going to set it onto the gold supports back there. Once you have it in place, we can use our Phillips screwdriver to put the screws in. We're going to use our Phillips screwdriver to put in the screws in the front so we can hold the shelves up so they don't get damaged. Now we can put the 2 mounting screws in the back. Now that we have the auger housing mounted, we can put the capillary tube through the hole and push it down into place. Once you have it down in place, we can reach on the bottom and put the plug back in, and then put those 2 screws back in with the 1/4-inch nut driver. Now we can put in the light bulb and the light lenses. First thing we're going to do is screw in the light bulb, and then we can put the lower cover on. Remember, on the lower one, you want to push it all the way over to the left and make sure those 2 tabs come up behind the shelves, and then slide it to the right to line up the screw hole. Then we can put the screw in. Now we can put the upper light lens in. All you have to do is lift it up into place so the 2 tabs go into the ceiling, and then push it up into place so it rests on this little tab right here. And then we can use the Phillips screwdriver to put the screw in. Once you have the light lens back in place, we can put the ice maker back in. To put the ice maker back in, first thing we're going to do is connect the power cord. We're just going to reach down and plug it in. Once you have it plugged in, we can lift it up, and you want to make sure that the fill tube goes into the fill cup. Once you have that in place, we can lift it up and set it on the upper screws. Once you have it in place, we can use our Phillips screwdriver to tighten down the upper screws. Once you have the upper screws in, we can put the screw in on the bottom. Once you have the ice maker reinstalled, we can put the ice bucket back into the freezer. All you have to do is line it up with the shelves and push it back into place. Once you have it all the way in, you can close the freezer door. Now that you have the new part installed, you can plug the refrigerator back in and make sure it starts to cool. Thanks for joining us for another successful repair brought to you by AppliancePartsPros.com. Check out our other repair videos on our site, Facebook, and YouTube.